Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. We've got a brand new release from the folks over at Agora Models. We've now got the Mitsubishi A6M Zero Fighter. Now, if you haven't heard of Agora Models before, I've put the link down here for them. That's where you can get the Zero Fighter from, and you can get this all the way from pack 1. They also do some other models. As you can see up here, I've got the Cobra. Over here, I've got the Super Snake. Behind me, I've got the Terminator. And not in this room, because it's so big, I've got the Bismarck. They're all available on that Agora Models website. So if you haven't been over there, follow the link down there and check them out. But today we are building the Zero Fighter, so I want to show you what you're getting yourself in for. Check out this video. Okay, this is the brochure that comes with it. You don't get the instructions with it. The instructions are online, so when you go over to the Agora Models website, you can get them from that. All the instructions for that are just here, down on this section here. On the other side here, it also details the Agora Advantage. So basically, if you're building more than one model with Agora Models, you do get advantages through that, and that details them there. But this is what it looks like inside. Now, the length of the plane is 50.7 centimeters. The wingspan is 61 centimeters. It's all singing, all dancing, like you just saw in the video there. And then if I open this up, this opens up into an absolutely ginormous poster, which is something I need because I've got a vacant space on my door, which you can see there. So that's probably where they're going. Now, I will show you what each pack looks like before we start the pack, but I can't see any reason to keep you waiting any longer. I love teasing, don't I? So without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so in stage 1, we're doing the propeller, which looks just like that. I've also got a tray here, which I'm going to fill up with some super glue because we are going to be gluing some stuff together. So I'm just going to put some glue in there. Now, I applied a glue with a pin vise, looking like that, and all this is an Archimedes drill just with a normal dressmaker's pin rammed in the end there, so I can dab that in. The other things you're going to need for this are a screwdriver. If you haven't got one of these, don't worry too much, because as you saw in that pack a second ago, it does come with its own screwdriver. I do prefer to use my own one, I have to say. You're going to need tweezers, you're going to need sprue cutters as well, but the first part we need is the mount for the propeller, and that looks just like this. This is metal, so I'm going to put that down, and the part that's going to go over it looks just like this, and this is plastic. Now, as you can see, this is the way we're going to want it up, but we have got some pins in this side here. Now, this is just going to go into here just like this, and there is actually a perfect fit for it, so it should slot straight in there, but we do need to glue that into place. So for that reason, I've got my little pin vise here, and I'm just going to drop some glue into each of these holes here. Now, this is a quick drying glue. A lot of folks around the world ask what glue I use. I use glue from the range called Glue It, but from what I understand, it's very similar to the Loctite brand. So when that's in, it should look just like that. Now we need the gear interchange, which looks like that. It looks like a crown, and it's actually this way round that we want it. We want the flat side at the bottom and the pointed ends at the top, because what we're going to do is just drop that in there just like that, so the teeth are facing upright, and we want to make sure that's seated all the way down in that cavity there. Now we've got 3 parts of the propeller jig here, which are going to go round here, and it's going to enable us to put the propellers in at the angle they need to be in. So this is what the propellers look like, and these are metal, and as you see we've got a cog at each end. What we do is we actually put the end of these slipped into the jig, and then we're going to lie that in this section till it's seated perfectly flat, just like that. We're going to do that with the other 2. In like that, and seated in. And finally the 3rd one, in like that, and seated in just like that. Now we're going to want to hold this together with the brace, the top section here. That's just going to go over the top, and you have got some little locating lugs and holes at the bottom there. So it's going to go in just like that. And then all we need to do then is put a screw down there. Now you do have a bag of screws. Unfortunately, the screws aren't labelled. Now they look very similar, but the difference between them is check the threads. You should have 4 of ones that have got really tight threads and 2 have got really loose threads. It's the loose thread one that we need to put through the centre here. So I've got that here. I don't know if you can see that. That's just going to go all the way through the top here. And now we don't need these jig parts, we can take them off. And before I put another detail on, you should be able to check that when I turn one of these, they should all turn, just like that, as you can see, which is excellent. Now the next part we've got looks just like this, and as you can see on the bottom of this, we've got 3 lugs. They're going to go into the 3 holes that we've got on top. Once again, need some glue for that. So 1 there, 1 in this side, and 1 just over that side there, and then line up the lugs and push that down. And then while we've still got the glue, we just want to put some glue just around this massive lug on the top there. I'm going to put it on both sides because we've got a cap just to put over the top, and that goes in just like that. So when you're finished, it should look like that. So the next thing we've got is the spinner, which is going to go over the top here, and it's located perfectly like that. We're going to turn it over, and then the screws that we've got left are going to go into the bottom there. We need 3 of those screws. Now these are the screws with the tight threads. So there's the first one. Now we are going into metal, so what I'm going to do is drop these in a little bit of oil just to help me get these in a little bit easier. What you want to do is make sure you don't put anything in the way of the propellers, because you'll be in danger of snapping them. So when you are screwing them in, just be very careful when you're doing that. So I'll put the 3rd one in here. Just like that. And there we go. So once again, we should still be able to turn these, as you can see, and it turns all the rest of them, but that is all there is to do in that stage. Now this is what stage 2 looks like, and we're going to start building the engine. So the first thing we need are these parts here. Now it's very important to remember what the labels are on each of these parts. All of these are labeled D. So I'm just going to get them out and just show you where that label actually is. It's actually written on the inside here. You'll see later on why that's important. But what we are going to be doing is we're going to be pairing these off with their partner on the other side. So it's going to kind of look just like that. And we're going to be doing this 3 times, but we are going to need to glue these together. So I've got my glue here. I'm going to drop some glue just down the holes. Now you'll see that the parts for the engine that we're making here are very similar. So now we know these are D, we are going to want to keep these to one side. So that's one done. That's two. You want to make sure that you've pushed them really hard together so there's no seam there. And that's number three. So altogether, we've got 3 engine parts in place there. Now on each engine face here and here, we're going to be putting some little tabs that look like this. Now the one set are different from the other set, and let me just show you what the difference is. And it's all to do with this little tab that's on the part there. We want that tab to be pointing to the outside, so we've got one that goes that way, and if you look at this one here, it goes the other way. So as this one's going to be going towards the outside, it's going to be fitting on this side here. They are shaped, but it should fit perfectly flat in there. But once again, we are going to need to put some glue in there. So I've got that here. Drop some glue in the hole, and then we put the first one in. Do the same on the other side. And just drop that in. So when they're done, they should look just like that. We're going to do that 2 more times. So once again, one in this side and the other one just in the other side here. That's number 2. And the last one here. This one goes in this side here, and that one goes, oops, and that one's going in this side here. So there we go, that's the third one completed. Now we've got the crankcase, which looks just like that. Now if you look closely on this, you've got some letters in there that say C and D. Now you can see why we need to make sure they're in the right ones. So I'm going to put this down here, and the ones that are labelled D, we're just going to put these in here just like that. So we've got one going that side, this way up, one going this side, and finally we've got one just going in this side over here, just like that. And then we've got 2 other parts for this stage, this one here and a bit of the fuselage here, which is metal. Looks absolutely brilliant. This is actually plastic, this bit's actually metal, but that is all there is to do in that stage. Now this is what stage 3 looks like, and it's very similar to what we've just done. We're going to be making some more engine components exactly the way, but rather than the D ones, we're going to be making C. So just like last time, we've got the engine components here, which I'm going to get out. And once again, we'll glue these together. One and 2. And push the lugs together like this. So then that should look just like that. We've just got to do that one more time. So once again, just some glue in there. We're going to piece these together. Just like that. So now we've got 2 more engine components which are labelled C. We've got to put the ends on just like last time, exactly the same way we did before, with that little nook pointing outwards. So I'll do this one first. So this one's going to go in this side, and this one's going to go in that side. So that should look just like that. Do the same on the other one. This one again on that side, and lastly just this one on the other side. So that's the second engine done. So we've got two now. We're going to bring back what we worked on last time without getting confused. So we've got the D's going in the slots that say D, but this time, once it's in, we're going to be adding the ones that say C. These ones are going around this section here at the bottom, which, as you can see, once these are in, they're hard to keep balanced in here. We don't glue these in, by the way. We put the other one just in this side here, which is going to leave two vacant slots just at the top there. Now I am just going to drag that to one side of my cutting mat there, because we're going to need this fuselage piece here and this part here. I'm afraid I can't tell you what all these parts are because they're not actually listed in the magazine, but this part here is going to be going over the two lugs that we see just at the bottom there. So it's going to be going in just like, oops, line it up, just like that, but it is going to be glued in. So I've got some glue here. I'm just going to put that around the little spindle here and here and drop this into place, pushing that down so it fits flush along that edge there. And then we're going to be putting this side just on top. We don't glue this together. This is just going to meld like that just for the minute. But that is pretty impressive on its own. It's quite big, you can see from the top camera there, and it's quite heavy, but that's all metal. But with this and what we've just completed, and also this part here, which looks just like that, we've got to keep these to one side because that's all there is to do in that stage. Now stage 4 looks just like that. Look at these wires here, but we don't actually work with these in pack 1, but we will have to keep that safe. But we get this open because we're going to complete the last two parts of C engine there. So exactly like we did last time, take these engines out and we're going to glue them together. You probably heard how that dropped on my cutting mat there, how heavy these are. That's two. They do require some force to actually pin them together, but that's one complete. And here's the second one. Oh, you're being a pain. And here's the second one, and that's all together just like that. Once again, we're going to put the ends on these. So drop some glue just into the ends here, 1 and 2. And again, make sure the little tab just on that section is pointing towards the outside. So that's the first one in. And the second one just on that side. Do the other one. Two. This one's going to go over here, and one just on the other side here. So there we go, that's the last of the engines complete. What we're going to do is just bring over what we've worked on and put these in the final positions on here, and then we're going to be pinning all these in together with the top that we got here. So this is why we want to make sure that everything is actually seated where it needs to be seated. because once this is in, they're not coming out again. Now as you can see, we have got a shape on here. We want to match that shape with the shape that we've got on there. We want to match the screws to the screw holes that we've got on there as well. So this is going to be going this way round. Let's see if I can do this first time. Oh wow, that's brilliant. That's just gone in absolutely perfect first time. We are going to hold that in with some screws. We've got some screws in the bag here. It's the only ones that come in this pack. And this is metal. So once again, just going to drop it in a little bit of oil there. And that's the first screw in. So now those engine parts are going absolutely nowhere. And there's the second part. And I'm sure you'll agree that looks absolutely amazing. That looks brilliant. So we've got this stage, which we've just completed. This section here, which once again is metal. And then we've got all the wires that you saw before. We don't do anything with them at the moment. That's the end of that stage. Now stage 5 looks just like this, and as you can see, we've got these familiar engine parts there, and that's what we're going to be working on first. These are labelled A, so where we worked on C and D before, we're working on A now. So once again, we're just going to drop some glue into these holes here, and then push together the lugs so it's nice and tight. Do the same on the other one here. And we push these together as well. And then once again, we're going to put the ends on there exactly like we did last time. Drop some glue just into the holes here, 1 and 2. Make sure that that detail that we saw before, always pointing towards the outside. Just like that. Just going to drop a little bit more glue just into that side there. And that's one engine A completed. Do the same on the other one. 1 and 2. 1 in that side. And 1 in that side. So now we've got 2 engine A completed. Okay, this is the engine that we worked on in stage 4, and as you can see, we've got some holes on this side, but if we turn it over on the other side here, we've got some smaller holes which are nearer to the top. It's these holes that we're about to put in the oil pipes, which look just like that. Now all of these are on a sprue looking like that, and all you need is a pair of sprue cutters to cut them off. Now it is worth making sure you have these sort of glasses on when you do cut them, so you can make sure you cut that detail in the exact place you need to cut it. And then all we're going to do is just drop some glue just into these holes at the end here. Get one of the oil pipes, put them in the holes, and make sure that when you put them in, they are exactly at 90 degrees. We need to repeat that for all the rest. Now I am running out of glue, so I just want to put a bit more glue in here and we'll get that completed. I think it's probably best to speed this up. Now by the looks of it, they have gave us 1 spare, so I'm just going to make sure they are all in place. They're all standing upright where they need to be, which they are. So when that's completed, that should look just like that. Now we do have another part which mirrors what we had in the last stage, like this. And once again, this has got the letters A and B on. Now the ones that we've just completed were A, so we can start putting them in where they go, once again with the lug section here facing down. So we've got one for A there, and then we've got one for A just at the other side there. Okay, so with the engine we made there, the engine that we're making in this one, these wires here, including this big one here, the fuselage, the bracket for the engine there, and the propeller, that's all there is to do in that pack. So there you go. That was quite an enjoyable build, and I think you can agree with me, the detail on it is unsurpassed. It's absolutely amazing. So once again, if you want to get this for yourself, I've put the link for Agora Models down the bottom there. Head over to there. You are covered by the Agora Promise as well. If you're unsure what that is, again, head over to the Agora Models website and you'll be able to see all about that. Apart from that, I really do hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.